What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you guys through my very own free hit draft for the upcoming double game week 34. Now first of all, no, I'm actually not on the free hit. I used that 2 game weeks ago in blank game week 32. Pretty respectable score we got on the free hit, so hopefully you guys using the chip this week can get a similar rank rise. Now as with every draft, I'll be going through the fixtures first, then I'll be taking you guys through the financial analysis, showing you the price points of these options before going into the actual team selection of the free hit. Now this video is going to be relevant for those of you on the chip, off the chip, because like myself on the free transfers, I've got 2 this week, and if you'll be targeting some of these options in this draft for my own team. So that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. Now, as I always say, the fixtures are the bread and the butter of any kind of draft, so I'll be going through the double game week 34 fixtures, starting off with the double game week teams, going team by team and looking at their fixtures. So the first team we're going to cover is going to be the Fulham assets, Man City at home, Liverpool away. In terms of double game week, doesn't get much worse than that. If Mitrovic was maybe back from his suspension, I would probably consider him, but I can't really recommend any of the Fulham assets to you guys. Now yes, you could go for someone like a Leno, just hope that he gets so many save points that it outweighs the goals conceded, because the Fulham side looks like they're currently on the beach. So can't recommend the defense, maybe one of the attackers you could look at, but to be honest, once you guys see the teams that have double game weeks, your attack is going to be stacked with more premium sides. Let's go on to the next team then. It's going to be West Ham, and definitely the first fixture is the saviour of that West Ham double game week, because they have Crystal Palace away and then Man City away as well. So Crystal Palace, they played last night, not the best performance from that side. Those of us that owned a Johnston and those sort of players were pretty happy with these points on a free hit, because in game week 33, they weren't as decent. So you guys could go for maybe one of their assets. I don't think, as I've mentioned with the Fulham assets, the attack is going to be stacked for more premium sides, so could Zuma, that sort of thing, could be in your defensive department, but I can't really recommend any team with Man City as one of the fixtures. But if you guys do want to take a punt, 100% fine, but the top 2 teams are a little bit hard to recommend, as the bottom 4 teams are pretty strong. So let's start off with those better teams. Let's go over the first team, Brighton, Wolves at home, United at home, one of 2 teams with 2 home games in double game week 34, so definitely be targeting 3 of these assets. So whether you guys go for 3 midfielders, favour more of the attacking department, obviously talking about the triple M's, McAllister, Matoma, and Solly March, or kind of drop one of those assets, go for an Estupinan, a Lewis Dunk, that sort of thing, I think you guys can definitely go for a triple up. Now on paper, those Wolves and United games aren't that bad. The Wolves game is definitely better, but United at the current moment aren't on the best of form, so I favour the attack and the defence of Brighton. Now if you guys have been keeping up with the ultimate guides, you'll know that the XG, non-penalty and XG of Brighton is simply outstanding over the last 6 game weeks, so if you have to kind of choose between the attack and the defence, I would favour the attack. Now going to the next team though, Man City, definitely a team that you want to triple up on, but always kind of hard to predict who's going to start for them. But on a free hit, it's a 1 week punt kind of, so you guys can take a few punts and hope they start both games. And the fixtures on paper, in my opinion, are probably the best of double game week 34. You got Fulham away and West Ham at home, and I can honestly see a clean sheet in both those games and so many goals in both of them as well. So attack versus defense, going to be quite hard to know where to kind of triple up on, because you probably own an Erling Haaland, so that's going to be 2 defenders, 2 attackers, or 1 attack and 1 defender. But just a reminder here that I am recording this before the games that are happening in game week 33 tonight. Man City taking Arsenal, maybe the result tonight gives us some more insight into the selection for the upcoming game weeks. The next team is also Manchester club, Manchester United, now Aston Villa at home and Brighton away. That Aston Villa and Brighton game, both 2 attacking sides, can't really see too many clean sheets from here. So in my opinion, a Luke Shaw might be a miss. But if you're from an attacking point of view, you can see quite a few goals scored by both teams in these fixtures. Let's hope for goal face, so someone like a Rashford, a Bruno Fernandes if he is going to be back fit, and an Anthony Martial might be punts to look at. Also shout out to Anthony, I owned him a couple of game weeks ago, did nothing for me, but maybe in double game week 34, he can do the goods for you. Now just an update on Bruno's situation, because on a free hit, you guys can obviously get as much information as possible. Select Bruno if he's back fit, avoid him if he's not fit. But in the press conference today by Ten Hag, he said that he is a doubt for tomorrow's game against Spurs. So to kind of conclude with United, I definitely favour the attack to the defence, and you'll see that in the actual draft. And the final team to look at definitely will be a triple up contender in my opinion. It's Liverpool, with Spurs at home and Fulham at home as well. So like Brighton have 2 home games, and that's going to be absolute music to your free hit users' ears, because Liverpool at home are a lot better than they are away. So your Mo Salahs, your Diego Jotas could take a punt on a Darwin, a Gakpo, or your Trents and your Robos. Selecting 3 of those should almost be essential on a free hit. Now that's a very tough debate to go over though, and you'll see what I've selected in my draft, but you guys can simply go for any one to accompany Salah and Trent because they're quite essential. So going over conclusion of these 6 teams, you can understand now why I haven't already gone over the top 2 teams, because between Brighton, Man City, Liverpool and Man United, if you triple up on all those sides you get 12 players, so drop 1 player from one team and then you got your full starting 11. But you can sprinkle in some differentials here and there, but in terms of the single game week options, I can't really recommend any of them. None of them have as good a fixture as these double game week options, so I would really recommend a full starting 11 of double game week players. But you guys can comment down below, even if you're not on the free hit, what side would you target? I think from my own point of view, Man City looks like a great selection, the best double game week in my opinion, but to be honest, I might be bringing 2 Liverpool options into my own team. So let me know what you guys are doing on your free transfers, and if you are on a free hit, what side are you tripling up on? But now going to the actual free hit draft, and as I usually do, I'm going to go over the financials first, show you the price points of these options, so that you guys are able to understand if you can afford this draft. Now in terms of the money left in the bank, I had a nice juicy 0.0 million left in the bank, so yes, I just could afford this draft, and that's even with a very cheap bench. So if you guys can't afford this draft, there are a few downgrades that I might recommend, but I'll go over them later on. Now in terms of the actual draft, I'm going to spice things up. I'm not going to be going position by position from left to right, most expensive to least expensive. I'm going to go over actually how I would be building my free hit team. So when you're going team by team and going over some selections, and at the end of the day, you'll get a nice picture of my actual free hit team. So let's start off with the best team in my opinion as a Liverpool fan. Let's go over the Liverpool assets first. I've gone to a Trent and Salah obviously, but I've accompanied them with their colleague Robertson in the defensive department. Now the reason for this is that if Jota does start tonight, just remember that I am recording this before the games on Wednesday night. So if Jota starts tonight, I can't see him starting 2 games over double game week 34. But if Jota does get benched tonight, that's going to be a key player to bring into your sides, because I do think he'll start both in game week 34. So to be safe here, be a little bit conservative, I've gone for Robertson because I think that he will start both games. Now yes, Tsimikas could come into the lineup, but I don't really think so. No reason why Robbo unless he's injured or very fatigued. So this triple up is pretty safe for 2 starts in my opinion. Now you guys would have seen the fixtures, great fixtures on paper at home. If there were some away games, I might be worried because the away stats are a lot worse than the home stats for this Liverpool side this season. Just a note on Robertson, if you guys do want to go for Van Dijk, that's 100% fine, but even in this new system with Trent playing in midfield, Robertson's still on set pieces and is still getting forward loads. But I would recommend going with Trent and Salah and whatever third option you want to go for, whether it be Robertson or Jota. Those are my 2 favorites, but if you want to go for a Gakpo or Darwin, I consider them punts. Now the next team is me, Man City, and let's go for Ederson, Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland. So Ederson and Haaland are no-brainers for me. Haaland kind of speaks for himself, but Ederson is a nailed Man City defender, and as mentioned, I can see 2 clean sheets over double game week 34. So you guys could take a punt on an outfield kind of defender, could go for a Diaz, he's my favorite option, but you can get Ederson cheaper, and I guess Diaz doesn't offer that much more attacking threat. But the real differential here is going to be Kevin De Bruyne. Most managers might go for a Jack Grealish, does come in at a cheaper price point, but I just feel on a free hit, you guys have to take 1 or 2 punts, and Kevin De Bruyne for me is a very safe punt. Now I know that Pep Guardiola might manage his minutes with the Champions League coming up, but I do think KDB needs to get into his rhythm, so I think Pep will play him for the majority of minutes. Now yes, he is quite expensive, and that's why I can only afford this draft with 0.0 left in the bank, so if you guys do want to go for a Jack Grealish, you'll have quite a lot of money to spend. So you're kind of combining the safe options, Ederson and Haaland, with a nice differential of Kevin De Bruyne, who's been in good form over these past couple game weeks. Now because we've got Ederson and goal, let's just kind of complete our goalkeeper department. I've got Iverson because he's the cheapest goalkeeper to get, and I did need quite a cheapie. So no reason other than that, I expect Ederson to play both games. Iverson comes in here as bench fodder. Now the next team we're going to go over is going to be Manchester United. I've gone for Rashford and Anthony Martial. Quite differential here in terms of the Martial pick, but I really don't favour that United defence against Aston Villa at home and Brighton away. Added to that, the player that you probably will get is going to be Luke Shaw, and he's playing at centre back, so the attacking threat won't be there from that position, and that's our favour going for a punt more in the attacking department and cue Anthony Martial. Now you guys might be asking me why are you going for Martial and not Jota. It's the same kind of dilemma. Robertson is more nailed, but so is Luke Shaw. But I just feel like Robertson has that attacking threat, whereas with Luke Shaw at centre back, he doesn't. And therefore I'd prefer to go for a punt on a United attacker than a Liverpool one. So the trade-offs are there, but if you guys disagree with me, you can go Luke Shaw instead, and then go for Jota up front. That's also a variation you can look at. Another variation is that if you do trust the United defence, you could go for Luke Shaw instead of Anthony Martial, and just simply go with Erling Haaland up front. But in terms of Rashford, no brainer there. Just please make sure that he comes out of the game, and Anthony Martial as well, unscathed, on Thursday when they take on Spurs. Now the last team to go over is with the Brighton assets, and they're going to kind of complete our 3-5-2. You guys can see that I've gone for 2 midfielder slots, and then also a defender with a Stupinan. So I've gone for Solly March and Matoma, but McAllister can also slot in here if you guys do prefer him. With only 2 slots left, I decided to go for Stupinan in the defensive department. Now Brighton are a great side going forward. Don't know how many clean sheets will be in here, but at least Stupinan is playing fullback and does get forward quite a lot. But also make sure that you guys watch the game tonight for Brighton, as there might be some rotation there, which might give us some insight into who starts both games in double game week 34. The last talking point to go over in the last place to talk about are going to be our bench fodder, and I've gone for some super cheap options: Castagne, Neco Williams, and then finally Greenwood. Now Castagne, I've started him here because he's the most expensive defender I could afford, alongside Neco Williams and also Greenwood. A little bit of a throwback to Alfred on game week 32 after his 10-pointer. Hopefully if he does come off the bench, you guys can also get a lot of points. But overall, you guys can see in terms of the financial situation, not a lot of money in the bank, some downgrades that you could potentially make, but the 3-5-2 looks absolutely stacked. Let me know if there are any changes you guys would make right now, but if you do want to wait for the team selection coming up to get a better image, that's 100% fine. So to just show you how stacked this 3-5-2 is going to be, let's go on to the team selection, show you guys the fixtures you are dealing with, because you guys have 11 double game week options. So the bench pretty much picks itself, the cheap options: Iverson, Castagne, Greenwood, and Williams. And if Castagne does have to come off the bench, the fixture's okay. Everton at home does offer some attacking to it, but Leicester aren't that great at the moment. But I'm pretty sure most of your double game week options should feature. So Edison picks himself Fulham away and West Ham at home. As mentioned, 2 clean sheets probably there. Not many save points to be honest, but I guess you guys will take those defensive returns because Edison has been conceding 1 shot on target basically every game over the past couple of game weeks. But I have confidence because the Man City defense has the best XG conceded over the last 6 and is a pretty strong defense over the entire season. The defensive department, double up of Trent and Robertson, Spurs at home, Fulham at home, at least 1 clean sheet there in my opinion. Probably the Fulham game as they are on the beach, but hopefully some more attacking returns to come. Then a Stupinan, Wolves at home, United at home. That Wolves game definitely the one that you guys are going to target. And then similar to Trent and Robbo, you might be relying on some attacking returns in that United game. Now the midfield department is absolutely stacked, probably the best department of our free draft. On the left and the right, we've got our 2 premium assets, Mo Salah and Kevin De Bruyne being the differential. But as mentioned, you guys can go for a Jack Grealish, a Mahrez, a Foden, that sort of thing, but I like this punt on a De Bruyne because I do think he'll do quite well. Then we have Marcus Rashford, no brainer in terms of that United attack, definitely the United player to kind of get at the moment. But please just make sure that he is going to be fine after tomorrow's game. Then Matoma and March, the double M's, double Brighton midfield. Hopefully they start both games, as Brighton's XG is pretty strong. Then finding the forward department, we've got a safe option and a differential option. The safe option, Erling Haaland, currently has the Campsey armband on him. I just feel like even if he's benched for one of the games, still could go on a massive haul in double game week 34. And definitely if you guys have the triple captain, I'd probably use it on him in game week 34. Then our differential, Anthony Martial. Fixtures aren't the greatest, but I still can see United scoring here, and he is quite central to that attack. Bottom right hand side though, 0.0 left in the bank, so if you guys have to make some downgrades, I understand it. The easiest one is Jack Grealish instead of Kevin De Bruyne. Could go Van Dijk over Robertson, that sort of thing. But overall, I think you guys can agree that the team looks simply outstanding. Now if there are any changes that you guys would make, if you guys are on the free, post your drafts down in the comments below. I know for my own team I'm targeting bringing in a Jota, Trent this week, even for a minus for it, and I'll showcase that in tomorrow's team selection. But this is basically wrap for the video, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. Please like if you didn't subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys, as I said, for the team selection tomorrow, where we are looking to potentially take a -4 hit. But let me sign off. It's Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.